European Nights is supported and brought to you by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental, as they continue to be a market leader. And by Craig International, game-changing procurement efficiency trusted by the global energy industry. With offices worldwide, Craig International also continue to be a market leader. The Dons are in Thessalonica to face Group G leaders POAK in the Toumba Stadium. Originally built in 1959, it can hold up to 28,000 fans. Of just under 1,000 will be Dons fans. It's only the second time that we visited Greece. The last time we were there was when we played Panathinaikos back in 2007. Tomorrow night's kickoff is at 17:45 UK time. And this is how the table stands. This is Group G. So it's quite obvious. We all know what we need to do. But Frankfurt and Helsinki also kick off at 17:45 tomorrow. So by the end of play, we will have a very good idea what's left for our two remaining games. Hi everybody, how are you doing? It's a very warm welcome back to ABTV here on YouTube. Obviously, I've been away for a month, and as most of you know, I've not been very well, so I've been hospitalised for the most part of 3 weeks. But I'm absolutely delighted to be back home, delighted to be back with you. And look, as much as my condition will be very much challenging going forward, it's not life-threatening, it's nothing like that. It's just a very difficult condition to manage. But I'm obviously going to do my very best going forward. So look, just before we crack on and get into things, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, because over the past couple of weeks in particular, I've received a number of goodwill wishes, and a lot of you got in touch to express their concern that obviously you hadn't seen me produce many shows on the channel. So I'm not just saying this because I know a lot of people say it, but when I posted online that I wasn't very well and that I was in hospital, I spent the best part of what were very long days reading all of your comments and your messages that came in, and honestly, it really helped to lift my spirits. It was the perfect tonic for me, and I'm really, really grateful to all of you who took your time to get in touch and to express concern. So yeah, I'm also very humbled by it. So look, we'll just crack on. I'm gonna obviously manage my condition as best as I can, and make sure I try and stay as healthy as I can, and try and obviously continue to bring you as many shows as we possibly can here on ABTV. So I just felt, I had to put across that message. It's the only way to start today's show, because we haven't done it for a month, by just sending out a big, big thank you. Right, so I want to deal with a couple of things before we get onto the POAK game. The team are currently training in the Toumba Stadium as we speak. Barry Robson has just literally given his press conference, and I've picked out a couple of notes from that. I'll come on to this, but first of all, he said that he was very disappointed about the ticket allocation for the League Cup final next month. But talking about the game, he went on to say, "We have a duty as an Aberdeen team to perform well." He said, "We are here to try and win it, and if we do everything right, we have a chance." So obviously there's a few pictures now online from the team training in Greece, and the boys look in great spirits. So let's come on to that in just a moment. But first and foremost, let's deal with what was today's news coming out of the football club about the ticket allocation. That obviously we've only been given 19,500 tickets for the final. So there was no even 50-50 split. Rangers were given 25,000. So this is where I am at with it. Obviously, I went online, expressed disappointment, bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment, but this is where I'm at with it. So at the end of the day, Hampden is supposed to be a neutral venue, which means that both teams should be given every advantage to sell their ticket allocation. And very much like what the football club attempted to do was that if there is say for example, a deadline that you do not sell your tickets, you then hand over that allocation to your opposing team and give them the opportunity to sell more tickets to their fans, which I personally have absolutely no issue with whatsoever. But I just felt that we should have at least been given an opportunity to sell those tickets. What I also think is that what's happened now is that this neutral stadium has now not become a neutral stadium. At the end of the day, they've been given more tickets. They'll get their normal section in the ground, and of course they'll get their normal dressing room, which for me takes away the whole word neutral. And if you take away the word neutral, you then start to question the sporting integrity. And that is my biggest issue with it all. So like what Barry has just said, and like so many Aberdeen fans today whose posts I've been reading online, are hugely, hugely disappointed. And also another note is the ticket prices for me are absolutely, a week away from Christmas, are absolutely extortionate. And once again, and I'll take both sets of fans into consideration here, just to play, devil's advocate, is it's to ask to fork out that sort of money for a showcase event. I think there's no thought process gone into it whatsoever. If you think about, at the end of the day, fans make football. And if you help fans a week before Christmas to be able to afford a day out, which is going to cost the best part of 150 to 200 quid, depending where you're coming from, again, it's just not been taken into consideration. And sometimes I just don't understand the thought process. And sometimes I just think, the powers that be need to just take a back seat sometimes, or even step away, have a think, take everything into consideration, and then have a chat about it, instead of just going straight in, 2 feet in, and just going, right, there's your prices. So, yeah, so that's where I'm at with the League Cup final. Right, so tomorrow's game. Look, obviously we saw what happened at Pittodrie. It was obviously up until the 73rd minute, I thought we were doing unbelievably well. I thought we got it spot on. I thought we were playing great. I didn't particularly see any evidence of fatigue or tiredness. I still stand by my comments that I think the substitutions killed us on the night. Leighton Clarkson has come out and said a couple of things, again, which I thought was quite interesting. He says we need to stay in the game as long as possible, and we must not let them get in behind us. We must keep them in front of us. And he talked about, how quickly games can change and all that sort of stuff, and how sometimes in football things happen, Richard Jensen slip and all that sort of stuff. But I hope tomorrow that, the individual errors that we witnessed at Pittodrie a couple of weeks ago will not be in evidence. And the boys will have to absolutely be at their maximum, very much like what we expected against Frankfurt. So what I've done is I've put together what I think will be the team that will play tomorrow night. And very much like how we set up against Frankfurt, this is what I think we will do. So sort of 5 across the back, the wing backs. I think Jack will keep his place. And obviously I know what happened on Sunday, but I think for me, he's got to be chucked straight back in so that he doesn't dwell on it. He doesn't let it get to him. I just think, games come around very quickly. So just chuck him back in, let him forget about it. So that's how I think we'll play across the back. Then in the middle, I think Jamie will play out on the left with Shinza and Leighton in the middle. I think Dante will start. So I think Connor will probably drop down to the bench. So I'm expecting Dante to start, and then obviously Bojan will just patrol the front area of the pitch. So that's what I think will be the team tomorrow night. So obviously the show is all about you guys. So what I'm looking for you to do is obviously get in touch. I've got Michael, we're going to have a nice lengthy chat with Michael Grant very soon about his new book, Fergie Rises. In fact, while I'm here and before I get you guys on, I'll just drag that in before I forget. So Michael and I spoke, actually it was a couple of weeks ago, it's just before I went into hospital, about his new book, which has been updated since the first one came out a number of years ago. And it's, if you've already read it, you'll know what a fantastic book is. So Michael's coming up very shortly. So first, let's get you guys on. Let's see how you're all doing. And let's start gathering your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's game. So Kaiser93 came on and said, good to have you back, Ali. Hope you're well. I'm doing just fine. Thank you, Kaiser. Paul Reiki, thank you, mate. Doing just fine. As to you, Bob Duff. George Findlay said, good to have you back. Hope the Dons can give POAK a good a game as the last time with a better result. Absolutely. Ian Fulton has said, good evening, fellow dandies from the COVID vaccination centre in Inverurie. We taxi services for my wife, so we'll need to catch up on the show once I get home. I hope everything's going to be okay, Ian. Seems to be sort of kicking about again, the old COVID, eh? Alan Nichols here. Hi, Alan. Hi, Ali. Good to see you back. Hope all is well. You've been a miss, especially after Killie game. Couldn't vent my frustrations off to anybody that cared. Well, I'm not talking about that game. Deary me. Graham Clark says, brilliant to have you back, Ali. Hope you're on the mend and your health is on the up. As although you've been missed, this is the most important thing. Delighted that you're home and back with the family. Thank you, Graham. Kevin Turner said, evening, Ali. Great to have you back on YouTube's best channel. Thank you, mate. Hope you're fighting fit. Again, I am. Simon Roy says, evening, fellow dandies. Hope you're on the mend, Ali, pal. Missed the shows, though we should have beaten them last time if honest substitutions play a part. I'm absolutely convinced Barry would have learnt from that. So yeah. Nicola Beaton, great to have you back, Ali. Thank you, Nicola. Scottish Susie, good to see you back, Ali. Had a great time down at Hampden, came back with a win and COVID. Oh no. Currently off work, but looking forward to cheering the boys on tomorrow. Stay safe, Susie. Keep well. Paul Donaldson, hi, Ali. Good to see you back. Hope you're feeling better. Erica Mitchell, good evening, Ali. Hope you're a lot better now. Michael Scott has said, good evening, stranger. Rob Clark said, superb to see you back, Ali. Please take care and recover well. I will, mate. Transmission GGB, fit like, just fine. Hope you're fine as well, Transmission. Rod Cow has said, good to see you back, Ali. All the best, Loon. The Mad Ferret has said, good to see you back. Hope you're on the mend. I'm doing just fine. Gordon Keith Ritchie has said, good evening all. We're all happy you're on the mend, Ali. Nothing to lose tomorrow. Go for it. Come on, you Reds. Excuse me. Dave Cormack has said, great to see you back, buddy. It's great to be back. You've got no idea how good it feels to be back. Michael Richardson also said, good to see you back. Erica Mitchell's looking forward to the game tomorrow night. Let's have a win. Stand free. Christopher Mainland is sending cuddles right back, mate. Kaiser said, hope you're doing better, Ali. We've missed you. I'm doing just fine, mate. Grey Pilgrim has said, stand free, Ali. Transmission GGB said, I have to say, watching POAK at home was one of the best teams I've seen on the ball and very patient, even though we blew it in the end. Like, they're going to be a really good footballing side, particularly at home. And we're going to have to absolutely be at our best. And obviously, as like what Leighton said, try and keep them in front of us as much as we possibly can. But they are going to try and hit us early. And they're going to press us high as well. I have absolutely no doubt about that. So by them pressing us high, I just hope we don't revert to us just humping the ball long, or forced, into humping the ball long. So I just hope we've got enough about us to be able to keep the ball on the deck and play our way out of trouble, because I think we've got the players to do that. Thank you, Graham Clark, for the message. A lot of you are coming on about the ticket allocation. Paul Donalds has sent the ticket allocation issue could take up a whole show on its own. In my opinion, 50-50 should be the starting point. And whenever we can't sell, just go to the opposition. Absolutely. Duncan Wright said, great to see you back, Ali. Forever stand free, mate. Thank you. You see, a lot of you have said if it wasn't an Aberdeen Rangers game, there would have been a 50-50 split. Now, I read a post on Twitter today, or X, whatever you call it. And I don't take these things too much for gospel, but I did see a post today where the Hibs Rangers game many years ago was actually a 50-50 split. So I don't understand what's changed. And I think the excuses about operational stuff and all that, it just doesn't wash with me. What operational issues? So yeah, Kevin Tom expressing disappointment about the ticket allocation, as is Transmission GGB. I'm also delighted to be back, Kevin, so thank you for your message, mate. Duncan Wright, I said we should have been given the opportunity to sell a full allocation. Rangers step up and agree with Aberdeen's should have stepped up and agreed with Aberdeen's request. They were never going to do that though, would they? Gordon Keith Ritchie, same old story, keeping the old firm happy won't every chance. Jason Campbell has said, it's just like, the old days. Right, let's come back with some more. It's good to see so many of you actually feeling very positive about the game. So Kevin Turner said, I agree with you how you think we'll set up with that rigid 5-4-1 formation, but I reckon Barry will get the nod rather than Clarkson. Okay. Tom O'S said, we'd be interested to see if some of the fresh faces get a run. Barry actually said that during his press conference, that he talked about freshening things up, but he's got to play his best players. Al Mitchell has said, good to see you back. Kaiser has said, we've got some tremendous players at Pittodrie. Robson's near getting the best out of them. Does everybody agree or not? John McDonald has said, we've got the talent and we can cause an upset as long as there's no more hoofball. Welcome back, Ali. Neil Strachan has said, I'm very happy and very confident. Sorry, I beg your pardon. He says, I'm very confident that Aberdeen will beat POAK. He's fancying us for a 2-1 win, and then Aberdeen will beat Celtic 3-1 on Sunday. Yep, I like that a lot. Kaiser 1903 said, I didn't really think much of POAK, to be honest. I thought we were very comfortable, and then we blew it. We did. We absolutely did. The POAK number 7 was by far their best standout player. Take him out of their team, and they're bang average. Yeah, he was a good player. Again, it's just where we have to be very, very careful. Biker Scout 74 said, good to see you back, Ali. Wishing you all the best. Thank you very much. Right, so let's just take a pause in proceedings and let's get Michael Grant on. So Michael wrote this absolutely phenomenal book about Sir Alex Ferguson's time at Aberdeen, his 8-year tenure at Aberdeen before obviously he left for Manchester United. And he's sort of updated the book, and there's a lot of new stuff in there. So what I thought I would do is jump on with Michael to really get into the crux of why he wrote the book and why he wanted to get into the mind of Sir Alex Ferguson. And the interview is 10 minutes long, so I really hope you enjoy it. Michael Grant on his brand new book, Fergie Rises. Enjoy. Hello, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Aye.
Good. Good. So listen, congratulations on a newly relaunched book, which I swear, Michael, I couldn't put down. I did it in 2 days, and I enjoyed it the first time around, but obviously everything that you've added to the book has just enhanced it, I think. So let's talk about the book. First and foremost, how has the relaunch gone?
Yeah, it's gone really nicely, Ali. People, including yourself, have been very kind about it. I think it went down well with Aberdeen fans by and large. The first time it came out in 2014, it was the first time really a book had looked specifically at his Aberdeen years, and I think we would agree that there's enough for a book in that, possibly more than one. So yeah, the book came out and it was nicely critically received, or whatever you want to say, and that was important to me that Aberdeen fans liked it, because it was a labour of love, and also you think that you really want to do this justice. You really want to do this justice and not feel like you've got the tone wrong, or just not captured that era. So hopefully I have, and I think there was enough to justify updating it, to cover the last, whatever it is, nine years or so.
When you were writing the book and you were doing your research, and obviously, you spoke to some of the greats, did anything catch you by surprise that you weren't expecting?
Um, I didn't catch me. I think the thing that really struck me was how much even the ones that didn't really get on so great with him, they still look back on that as an incredible period and maybe often the kind of defining period of their career. I think none of them wanted to think badly of Ferguson. Really, I mean, there were some that had their issues with him and some that left the club pretty quickly after he came in. But I think all of them realised what a genius manager he was, and even the ones that left say, well, I left, but the club needed him. You could see what he did for Aberdeen, and also I think what I was trying to argue in the book was that Aberdeen were good for him as well, because when he came in 1978, he wasn't anything like the figure that he became pretty soon afterwards. He had much to prove himself, and Aberdeen was a platform for him to do it. And maybe the one thing I would say, Ali, is how much they all had a laugh under him. I mean, I think there is this kind of reputation, obviously, as the kind of sergeant major and the kind of madman and all the rest of it. And yeah, there was plenty of that. But by God, they had a laugh with him as well, and they weren't dreading going into their work in the morning. And that was all part of the team spirit and the kind of unity that he fostered as well.
See, when you were planning the book, did you sort of plan it chapter by chapter, or did you just go through a process where you just had to get stuff down, get all your snippets, get all your information together, collate it, and then start to build the book around the information that you got? How was the process?
Yeah, the process. Well, I had imagined it being largely chronological. You start in 1978, you just continue right through until he leaves for United. And I did all the interviews kind of on that basis. I think it was nearly 100 people that I spoke to in the course of the book. Certainly all the main Aberdeen players from that time. But I do remember that when I submitted the kind of first draft of it, the editor at the time, he suggested a pretty kind of radical change into a certain part of the book in terms of the running order, and bringing things around. And it was a fair bit of work to do that change, and also, you're very kind of protective of a book, and when you've done it, it's like, this is your baby, and how dare you suggest it could be improved in any way, But that editor was bang on, because the change that he made, now when I had made it, I realised that it worked better for the book, But yeah, I mean, largely it's chronological in terms of the flow of it, but there are chapters that kind of jump a little bit because they're summarising that period,
Some of the stuff that I wrote about it in my column this week about all the little sort of memories that started to come flooding back. Little things like when the team used to run off the pitch at halftime, not just walk off, run off and straight down that tunnel. And then when I cleared the cobwebs, I was like, oh my God, that, it's little things like that I think can make all the difference. And also stuff about where he believed everybody was against them, as in the Glasgow press and all that sort of stuff. And again, it all came flooding back. So what I did, Michael, was I spoke to an ex-Aberdeen player, a more recent ex-Aberdeen player whose privacy I shall respect. And I said to him, just out of interest, in the time that you were with Aberdeen, did any of your managers pin an unflattering report or anything unflattering about the team in the dressing room? And I was absolutely astonished to discover not once. And that baffled me, Michael, baffled me. Because I think the psychological part of it plays such a huge role.
Well, totally, yeah. And I would say that there's been plenty that you could have pinned up about Aberdeen that's been negative over the years, in the last... I mean, Fergie was finding stuff that was written about that team, and it would have been far. The media would have been far more generous to that side, in the early days of his era than a lot of the rubbish that followed and was rightly criticised. Yeah, I mean, it's been funny, hasn't it, Ali? Because there have been times when Aberdeen has kind of wrestled a little bit with that era in terms of how big a deal do you make about Gothenburg? Do you have all the pictures on the wall? Do you take them down? Is it too big a pressure on the modern team and all that sort of stuff? My view is that we have a history that is not unique, but it's pretty special, and I think that should be celebrated and highlighted. And if a new signing walks in the door, or even an opponent walks in the door, he should realise that he has walked into a club where special things have happened in the past, and I think that isn't anything that Aberdeen should shy away from, or feel that it's too big a responsibility on the current team. They should enjoy it.
Last question. I remember interviewing Willie Miller about what sort of captain he was, how he captained the side, and if sort of being a captain was in his DNA and his makeup and all that sort of stuff. And when I interviewed him, I found a completely different side to him, which obviously elevated his hero worshipping from me even higher. When you finished the book and you read it back and you looked back on everything that you had collated and put together about him, did it take your level of respect for Sir Alex even higher?
It did, yeah. It genuinely did. I did feel like I got a more rounded view in my own head about what he was like to work with and to be around in those 8 years. I didn't come away from it thinking any less of any of the players or anything like that. It wasn't, I didn't think, oh well, now that I know a bit more about it in real detail, oh well, it wasn't all that great, or other teams could have done the same sort of thing. I didn't lose any of my respect or even awe at times for some of the things that they did, And I think it is. I should also say that people said to me, well, what is there to update about the book? And I get that, because it is about that kind of snapshot of the 8.5 years. But significant things have happened since 2014. The most profound of them, obviously, or the most poignant, was losing Neil Cooper, which really hit those players from that era as hard as it hit all the fans, But also I wanted to things like Fergie coming back for Cormac Park opening up. Him and Dave Cormac are quite chummy, Also, the Fergie coming back for the statue unveiling, I thought was significant, and I was keen that the updated book had a picture of that, and just to show that the club was maybe belatedly kind of waking up to Fergie. I mean, it was amazing that there was a stand named after him and there was a statue for Fergie at Old Trafford, the club that he was at after Aberdeen, So the Aberdeen are slowly kind of resolving those kind of issues. But so there was all that, and there was obviously, sadly, the kind of health issues that Fergie and a couple of the Aberdeen players have had, and since the book came out, obviously we lost Frank McDougall, so stuff like that I thought was important to try and bring it as up to date as we possibly could,
Brilliant. Michael, thank you so much. Many congratulations again. And I would absolutely convince and suggest to everybody, especially Aberdeen fans, not even Aberdeen fans, just football fans in general, to get their hands on it. It's a great read. Lovely to see you, mate.
You're very kind, Ali. Thank you very much.
Take care. Ta-da.
Bye.
My thanks to Michael Grant. So, if you haven't already done so, I'd be absolutely thrilled if you would please consider subscribing to ABTV here on YouTube. It doesn't cost you anything, and we're really doing a big push to get up to 3,000 subscribers. We're roughly 67 subscribers away from reaching that milestone. So if you would, I'd be very grateful if you would push that little subscription button and see if you can help us get to 3,000 subscribers, which would just be absolutely phenomenal, considering, we're only halfway through what is our second full season. Right, let's just get you some more comments on before we finish off tonight. We'll just do a couple of more minutes. Right. Okay. Transmission GGB has said, POAK have come from behind in all their away games, but I thought that second would stop that. Steve Emma said, nice to see you back, Ali. Missed the show. Hope you're fit. Certainly am. Halloween was last week. A few of you have just come on and said, don't forget to hit the old like button. So if you're enjoying tonight's show, press the old like button, because obviously we've been away for a month. So we just need to keep the momentum going on YouTube. So if you wouldn't mind pressing the old button, if you've enjoyed the show, obviously. Rod Cow has said, what's going on with the Jekyll and Hyde performances? You worry what Aberdeen team turns up, the expansive passing team or the hoofball team. It's baffling it's the same group of players. It is a very good point, Rod. Jason Campbell says, I think because it's the same group of players that might be the problem. Need more squad rotation, he said. Kaiser said, Shinnie, Clarkson, Barron, Polvaro and McGrath are all ball players, yet the majority of the games this season have bypassed the midfield. Yeah, it's been a problem, which I hope, we don't see too often going forward. Kaiser went on to say, getting wins masks how bad we've actually been this season. The Motherwell game last week was the only game we've played well for 90 minutes, even though we lost the 2 goals. Lillian Miller has said, welcome back, Ali. Hope you're on the road to recovery. Nothing else matters, only your health and your family. Everything else is trivial, except the Dons. Baz Strachan has said, glad to see you back, Ali. Evening, everyone, and tough one tomorrow and tough run of games ahead. Yeah. Kaiser has said, totally agree with Michael Grant. The first thing folks should see coming into Pittodrie is Willie Miller holding up the Cup Winners' Cup. Gray Pilgrim has said, Barry was getting some stick earlier this season, but we're in a cup final and our Euro results show we're a handful for the so-called bigger and better teams. He's learning this manager's job. I completely agree. Transmission has said, should be proud of our history and our team, should not be scared of it and look to it for inspiration. The Mad Ferret has said, rest in peace, Frank and Tati, two stars whose lights will never go out. Simon has asked, have you got a heater for the winter? I've got one over there, mate. There's a brand new one coming. My wife actually said to me today, darling, we need to get you a proper heater in that studio. God love her. Let's just come back a touch. Alexander Wallace said, definitely missed this, Ali. Think we'll get a positive result tomorrow night if we can keep the effort going for full 90. Yeah, a lot of you are feeling very optimistic about tomorrow, which is good. Duncan Wright has said, our European performances have been good, just no Rob of the Green. It may come tomorrow night. Rob has said, good to see you back. Cheers, Rob. David Gold has said, start Polvaro tomorrow. He's emerging as a big game player. 2 Europa goals and assist. In the semi. Yeah, he's really, really grown on me, I have to say, Dante. He really has. Rob Clark has said, I think it's quite nice of the SFA to give them more tickets for their first ever Scottish League Cup final. Right, guys, let's finish having a laugh. Right, we're all done. So, again, many thanks for watching tonight. We've done over half an hour, so I hope you really enjoyed it. Absolutely brilliant to be back as normal. So, the idea now is that we will do a review show. But just bear with me, because what I might do is I might combine a review show with a preview show for the Celtic game on Sunday. So I might actually look to do something now on Saturday. So if you can give me the grace of having a couple of days rest, and then, we'll come back with the review and preview show sort of all built into one on Saturday. So guys, thank you so much. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been absolutely fantastic being back. I've loved every minute of it. Just goes to show how much I've missed it. And all that's left to say really is the very best of luck to the lads tonight. As we always say, don't leave anything in the dressing room, and just go out, show them how good you are. And if you can play as well as you did against Frankfurt and get a bit of a rub of the green, you just never know what might happen tomorrow night. So the very best of luck to the lads. Stand free, everybody. Take very good care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon. See you on Saturday. Bye for now.